For the thousands in the comments and the millions listening on YouTube Premium.
Folks, welcome to another episode of KNITRO on Knotfest.
Nice.
The K is not silent for us.
Neither
for you.
That K is loud
proud.
as shit. It's a loud K.
This is Nitro episode 7. We are 7 weeks into this historic wrestling weekly live program. And this show starts off
Alien Pepe.
Kick
it off hot.
Let me see what I took a picture of what Mongo said about Alien Pepe because he brought up Pepe saying that we were going to see out of this world action tonight, and then followed that up with his dog.
Oh yes, I have the exact quote. In fact, Captain Love Dog has flown in from Dogtron to see some out of this world action tonight. I'm talking wrestling that you've never seen in this planet before. And then Bobby goes, "Can you turn that tarantula around?"
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where the battery goes.
Yeah.
And Mongo replies to "That's where the batteries go" as "Yes, indeed."
Yeah. Like, yes, batteries go up his ass brain. Thank you for bringing that up.
That's my fetish.
Yeah.
What? And that's the only thing he could. What else could he have meant?
It's crazy.
Oh,
Every
you know that's
week
where
that
the
I
batteries go, baby. What?
We get a recap of WCW Pro.
And this, I can't believe that they did this monumental promo on the weekend
What
show,
the
on the
hell?
morning weekend show, not even the main weekend show, Saturday night. And they don't even show the full thing. I had to go and YouTube the full segment because it's so good. Ric Flair brings out little stingers.
You sent it to us.
Yeah.
And I did watch I did watch it after watching the full episode. And at first watching it, I was like, all right, I get it. It'll be longer. And then Ric Flair drops, "You owe me." And I was like,
Oh. Yeah.
I was literally.
And you know he
I was
meant that shit
locked
too.
in.
And even Sting was like, "I owe you, motherfucker.
What?
I owe
Here's
you
the
an
thing.
ass
I
whooping."
don't. He said for the title shot 2 years ago. What does he mean? I don't know what that means.
That's a great question.
Rob?
So I'm not exactly sure. 2 years ago, it would have been 93.
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly, because I feel like I thought it meant, Ric Flair made Sting's career by giving him a title shot at Great American Bash, I believe 89 or 90. And that's what I thought, like he owed him for making his career. But then Sting joined the Four Horsemen at some point, I remember. And then he got turned on and kicked out of the Horsemen. So in storyline, I guess there's a weird thing, but maybe Flair did give him a title shot. Now that I think about it, it might have been how Sting won the title again after his injury. And then he went on to have his programs with Vader. So maybe that was
You're right.
that
This is that I have heard of, and I didn't know if it was exactly this moment, is that Sting was primed to fight Flair for the belt.
Right.
And then he got injured, and the bosses asked Ric Flair to drop the title to Lex. And Ric Flair said, "Fuck no, I'm dropping it to Sting. We're going to wait."
Nice.
And he waited it out, and then he dropped it to Sting.
No,
and I
he
did
left
not
the
know.
company. No.
Oh,
No,
really?
there was a big argument about it, and it resulted in him getting fired. That's when he went to WWF
And he
as
took
a
the
real
title.
champion.
The
And then
Vegas
WCW introduced
Big Gold.
Yes,
Oh.
and then WCW introduced their own new world title, and then
The one that is just a
what's so funny?
complete
What's so
ripoff
funny
of,
is, yeah, and so he lasted in WWF for a year, and then like they weren't pushing him in the main event, so he was like, I think I want to just go back.
Yeah.
And Vince let him out of his contract, and in that whole time, Sting was still out with an injury, so Flair was able to eventually win back the title, and then I think they finally had the program with Sting.
Is that okay? But that's what he's talking
I think
about.
that's what it is.
something like
Yeah.
that. And it's funny that
Is
people talk shit about AEW, like not doing enough to explain little things, but like they generally commentary what we just had to do. Commentary does on Dynamite every
Excalibur will say
Excalibur does something in 30 seconds telling you exactly what you need to know.
Here's the thing, I was curious about it. I was like, that sounds like it's good stuff.
Yeah.
You owe me for something 2 years ago. There's some shit there.
Yeah.
I was like, did Ric Flair kill one of Sting's wives? Like, what is going on? Like, I'm assuming it's
something like that.
It's some kind of. I heard about a promised title shot from folks talking about stuff.
Well, anyway,
if I'm off, please hit us up on social media, KNITROPod, and let us know what the backstory is here. If you have
clearly, it's important. You know, this is starting the show because we're seeing that like, hey, this is a big deal, and it's gonna play into something you're gonna see later. But to start this show, television champion DDP, has he been on Nitro one time?
No.
Was he on Fall Brawl? I think this might have been the first time we've seen him.
He had a match on a pay-per-view. But this is his first Nitro appearance.
Yep. Yeah, this is his KNITRO debut.
Wow. Versus Johnny B. Bad. In my notes here, I wrote, "We're eating good."
Yeah.
He's got this crowd lit. The people love him. He's got all the gimmicks. He's doing all the stuff. Then DDP hits him with the belt. The match never starts. And I wrote, "We're eating
Hold
bad."
on. Before DDP hits him with the belt, Johnny B. Bad is coming out with that gun. And Mongo goes, "I'll tell you what, if I was Johnny B. Bad, I'd know a place to put that gun."
Another
what is happening?
Are we advocating for sodomy? Twice.
This
Two
is
sodomy
the sodomy episode.
One was to a dog.
Yeah.
His dog.
Bobby, why don't you put some batteries up my dog's ass, you motherfucker?
You know what? Why you're at it, baby? Johnny, get over here with the gun.
Oh man, that's good.
This was a great setup. Like, I want to see this match now.
Yeah.
Good setup for the pay-per-view match.
Weren't
You're right.
they saying like these guys are gonna wrestle at the pay-per-view, but they're wrestling tonight too.
They're basically telling you you're not getting a finish here, buddy. It is funny how, like you said, we make fun of AEW for how they set up their pay-per-view matches. The undercard build for this pay-per-view has been unbelievably weak. I'm feeling we're missing stuff. I bet all the meat of the undercard happens on like Saturday night that we're not watching.
And WCW Pro, I guess, whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
It's so unimaginable. Like, all this happened on WCW Pro Wrestling television show.
The show was called WCW Pro Wrestling, yes, and then they just shortened it to Pro.
Fuck off!
World Championship Wrestling, Pro Wrestling.
They had another show called WCW Prime.
Oh my God. Stop. Anyway, we ate bad watching this, but now I'm excited to see this match. And having seen the match before and being Johnny B. Bad's #1 fan, can't wait to see it again. Can't wait to talk about it here on the show.
One little aside, during the replay, Brain always calls the replays. I noticed this, and he's really good at it. He's really fun at it. He's showing DDP doing the fake pin, and he goes, "And a 1, and a 2. I'm not Lawrence Welk." I just love that he just throws in this random reference.
He's the best talker to ever live in the business.
Yeah,
straight up.
It's so good, so good.
Okay, guys, the first real match here, legitimate history. Chris Benoit's WCW debut versus his best friend Eddie Guerrero.
First thing Bischoff says, Chris Benoit is a bad dude.
You are correct,
yes.
Mr. Bishop.
Yes. This is accurate.
What are your thoughts here, Jordan, going into this? As a first-time watcher, a guy who didn't really grow up watching wrestling during Benoit's era. As we stated last week, Rob and I were Benoit diehards, for lack of a better word. Pardon the insensitivity. We're Benoit lifers who were personally crushed and affected by the tragic events. How are you feeling, Jordan, as a guy detached from this situation?
I think the problem is that you're watching it and it is inarguably really good.
Yeah.
And everything, I think the problem with the whole thing that happened with Benoit is it's a tragedy that like it's a problem that was exacerbated by what he's literally doing on screen in front of you.
Yeah.
You're watching him do things that will inarguably create what happens later. So it's almost impossible to watch this match and not feel horribly sad.
Yeah.
You're sad for him. You were sad for Eddie. There's just I was unable to like be able to fully appreciate it because you just it all because of just what I've known. I didn't watch this without that context.
Sure. So
So
you'll
it makes
never
it-
have the rose-colored tint that Rob and I can't
Absolutely
shake.
not. Yeah.
I agree with you. I was thinking about that too. Like, wow, look, here he is dropping his best friend on his head, leading to the CTE issues that caused him depression, that made him, make his heart stop, that caused Chris Benoit's depression, that led to his, manic episode or whatever. So I do get what you're saying with that, but still,
not
like
not even
But,
him
oh my
as
God.
him.
what a
out-
match, though.
What a fucking match. Like me, if I was an adult or something, or a teenager, somebody who was of sound enough mind to know more, like what I know about wrestling now, if I was seeing Chris Benoit for the first time, like physically, biologically, he has designed his body to be the best at wrestling.
Yes.
You know, like
I mean, his whole life
every aspect about his
revolved around
physique, he like purposefully designed to be better at wrestling. Like his arms are fucking massive, but he's slender enough to be able to move quickly, and boy, does he move quickly.
Dude, here's the thing. We gotta get like Eddie Guerrero also is
Oh,
perfect.
100%. Eddie's the
Perfect.
best. I mean, these are probably the two best wrestlers ever right now wrestling each other. Everything they do is perfect. Eddie's selling that arm the entire match after the forearm turnbuckle post thing.
Incredible.
That's like a technical wrestling aside. That's what you're looking for as the benchmark of like if a guy is good,
Yeah.
and he's doing it. The
And
whole time.
even the announcers are like, we don't even know what to call some of these moves. Like
Yes.
Guerrero did a springboard Huracan Rana,
Oh,
which they don't even use the term Huracan Rana yet until Mike
leg
Tenay comes.
scissors. Yeah,
He called it a head scissor.
Head
Bishop
scissor
called it, which
takeover.
I'll give him that one.
It is.
I'll give him that
Yeah.
one.
Dude,
Uh,
Eddie did one that I've never seen where you do the Hurricane Rana setup, but you go sideways. He flipped him over.
yeah.
Right,
That's
well-
kind of a head scissor takeover. That's what that's called. Basically,
If you do this,
like your body is facing the ring while you're scissoring, right?
yeah, I've seen people like twist around the body, but
Yeah.
I've never seen someone literally flip completely over.
Yeah, it's badass.
It was
There's and the
unbelievable.
little details here where like Benoit does a backdrop with Eddie's bad arm like wrapped around his back, and then goes for it again later, but Eddie knows how to counter it because he's already taken it. So he
Mhm.
counters it into the like little crossbody splash thing. And like this is if I was a young wrestler watching this, I'd be like, oh, everything they're doing has a psychological aspect to it. Like there is
Yeah.
a reason. That Hurricane Rana reverse sequence towards the end.
Incredible.
Oh my God.
It also has this match has the best Mongo in match call so far, which is if you're not a WCW fan after seeing this, you're dumber than dirt.
I mean,
there were a few.
That's
a
the
few good
most
quotes.
accurate thing he said. And then Bischoff follows it up with the C in WCW stands for commitment.
world
To
commitment.
bring you the
Wrestling.
best action. And then,
No,
and then
it
Mongo
doesn't. It
says,
stands for championship.
and then Mongo adds a tag. The C also stands for crippled.
Oh.
World Crippled Wrestling.
And this, like I was saying last week, this match should be an example to people who want to commentate to shut the fuck up and talk about the action because this lives forever.
I know.
The stupid quips you're making during a match where the guy would eventually kill himself and his son and his wife is only going to make you seem crazy when people go back and watch it.
Yeah.
There are a few other great quotes that I would like to read from this match. But I do want to say, with these two guys, it's very clear both of them said, like, hey, we only have 7 minutes. Let's pack this match with 12 minutes of wrestling and like show them what the fuck we can do. Because this is unlike the pace of the heavyweight matches is so much slower than this. Yeah. They did so many moves here.
But so also Mongo, while doing like while telling
a story.
While telling the story of working the arm and taking things slow when they need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With this match, I think this goes back to the discussion of Hulk Hogan from the last episode, where how are they using him? Is it a burden, or is it like or are they trying to set him up as the real main event? The way that they talk about this match for the rest of the episode, I think the goal is to trick the audience into thinking that every single wrestling match they watched that night
is that good,
was or had the ability to be that good. Like this is the actual wrestling that you're getting,
right? And
hoping that when you watch Hulk Hogan wrestle, you think it's the same quality,
right? Yeah,
that's insane. What I think is happening.
I think that's called gaslighting, Jordan.
They sure are.
We're being gaslit by WCW into thinking that Disco Inferno is as good as Chris Benoit.
That we sure were.
But hold on, let me read some quotes. So obviously they had to spend some time talking about Hogan during this match, because God forbid. And Mongo goes, if you don't think Hulk has what it takes to win at Halloween Havoc, then you got more rocks in your head than a face at Mount Rushmore.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
Please,
that's
cut
not
to
bad.
Bobby. Bischoff, plugging his own hotline, gave out the wrong number. He said, call 1-909-9900. That is not a phone number.
Dude, okay. The WCW hotline is now my favorite thing.
Is the number, have we checked that the number still doesn't work?
I don't know.
It probably doesn't.
Rob, why don't we try?
The fact that they are
What's
advertising.
1-900-909-9900.
The WC, give it a call, Colin. Then I will.
The call you are attempting to place is not allowed from this line.
What if it said brother? The call you are attempting to place, brother, is not. So let me tell you something,
it
subscriber.
Has been disconnected, brother. Dude, but here's the thing. They're advertising this hotline and selling it as like with Mean Gene out here absolutely roasting WWF. Like, just he's in the middle of the ring and just like, if you love talking shit, then call the WC. Like everything.
It's the gangster party line video.
It's
this
so
is
funny.
This is also just the original clickbait. I feel like a major figurehead from the other promotion is left, and it's like, oh, it's just some guy. You know,
dude. That and just like, we have just received word that the WWF champion got beat up by a girl. Like,
that was true. I think that was Shawn Michaels that got beat up at a bar that he was teasing.
But it's so juvenile. Just like, Bret Hart. This just in, more like Bret Fart.
But then he has to be like, and now to be my serious reporter, let's bring out the Giant and Kevin Sullivan.
Oh my God, dude.
I want Mean Gene every week though, doing this, pushing the hotline.
Yeah,
he does.
He does.
Dropping roast. I have just been notified that Shawn Michaels has the grace of a swan, the wisdom of an owl, and the eye of an eagle. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is for the birds.
Down the road, it gets even crazier because it shows the wrestlers like on computers responding to things.
Yes.
Like it'll be Buff Bagwell just like chatting online.
As long as it
awesome.
Still has at least one like Gene in the ring going like, trusted sources are saying that Vince McMahon closes the fridge with his hips.
Yeah, this is proof to just use your damn TV time wisely, shut the hell up, and focus on your stories. Because Kevin Sullivan is now here to say, quote, he's like, I told you Hogan was bad, but, quote, has a small part of good left in the carcels of his heart.
In the cackles of his hat.
That's what it's so funny that he's playing Satan with the thickest
crazy,
Boston
yeah.
accent.
Little Boston accent. It's so crazy.
It's so funny.
I'm the
It's essentially
fucking
he's-
devil, dude.
Fucking Hulk Hogan, he's not that evil guy. And let me
No.
tell you, kid,
Go Sox.
I see more evil outside of the Dunkin' in my house, I tell you.
Yeah, we
Hulk
need a
Hogan,
Kevin.
you can't fight. I'm gonna go to the park, beat up a guy. That's
That's
how
right.
fighting Hulk Hogan's like.
The cockles of his hat are still good.
The
and
cackles
that's-
of his hat.
And then Giant is just still doing his Hogan impersonation.
It's I can't believe nobody gave him a note like stop doing Hulk Hogan.
Stop
Like,
saying brother and stop saying let me tell you
He's-
something.
He's so green. It's unbelievable. I also have it written down. Kevin Sullivan looks like a bottle of Rush poppers.
He looks crazy.
If you could, if our editor, Rob Menzer, the lovely, talented Rob Menzer, could put a photo of Kevin Sullivan and Rush poppers. you
What
could
are
see-
Rush poppers?
It's just basically, I guess it's nitrous in a tiny little
Mm.
little thing. And you do a little sniffy sniff, and it opens up your butthole.
Opens you up real
fun.
good.
Widely used in the gay community.
Right. That's what I've heard.
Oh, yes. Also good for opening up your throat for giving
Oh,
head.
Oh,
okay. What is the actual function?
I'm going to use that for eating hot dogs.
Were they straight up?
they're
Joey
I
Chestnut
think,
needs to be tested for poppers at the next fucking hot dog eating thing.
The advertising on them is like VCR cleaner
Oh,
or like DVD player cleaner, something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Like
cool.
good.
Well, that's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
available at your local bodega.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're that
Kevin
accessible?
Sullivan available
Wow.
at your
Yeah,
Kevin
exactly.
Sullivan.
Well, I guess a smoke shop. They're all
Oh,
in the head
easy.
shop. When I go get my paper, my raw papers, that's where
Nice.
I see the Rush.
I love that when the Giant does the hand thing on Mean Gene's face, Mean Gene finds a way to do a bit that absolutely nobody on earth will understand. Mean Gene hits a punchline with like an inside joke.
Dude,
What did he say?
Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
oh yeah.
He's just like,
it's like
wow,
being
that's as
inside the
big as my
Mickey
great
Mantle's
aunt's-
club.
It's crazy, dude. And
Dude.
inside, like him, one of his cousins was like, "Did you hear what Gene said on TV just now? He talked about Ethel's shoes."
Gene is like, did you hear what Gene said? He's hysterical. And they're right. Gene
He is hysterical. He's such a
Gene
pro.
is Gene top 5 comedians of all time?
If you watch Legends House, yes, absolutely.
He's great. He just loves a nice
Carlin.
whiskey.
Loves a hot girl under 22. You know,
Oh man, the inappropriate lines he says towards women as the show. Here's the thing:
It's
as
crazy.
Nitro keeps progressing, Gene Okerlund's alcoholism gets much worse.
yes, and the
And his level of
objectification of
caring.
women skyrockets across the show.
Skyrocket. He's such a perv. The weirdest quote during this segment did not come from Mongo. It came from Eric Bischoff. This guy is making me cough up my toenails.
What?
That was
the
crazy, dude. What?
Why are
Like,
you eating
are you-
toenails?
Why are you eating your own toenails?
Oh my!
Much
God.
less any toenails.
That was
Or
crazy.
is it just like he makes his toes curl so much that his nails fall into his
No, I
body
think
so
he was-
far back
He
that
was
he's
like, "We all eat them,
puffing
right, guys?
up?"
Like this is
Yeah.
like we're
That's
that's why
his
we're
fetish.
full." Yeah, that's crazy. I wrote. They talk about a Saturday wrestling show here, right? They talk about
Again.
Saturday night. I wrote in my notes,
Mhm.
imagine watching wrestling at 6 p.m. on a Saturday.
It was phenomenal. It was the
It's a-
6:05, in fact.
Here's the thing. That's about to happen again.
I can't do it. I'll watch it.
Oh,
on
like you're too busy.
I
you're
can-
saying.
Oh
I'll
my
watch
God.
it the next morning. I won't be. You could not.
That's Sunday
you-
at 11 a.m. You might as well do it live Sunday at 11 a.m.
when they were
For
doing
me as a teenager, it was great though. You spend the whole afternoon at the playground playing basketball, doing sports.
Yeah, I
Come
guess
back for
that makes
supper.
sense. That's not how life
You
works
get-
anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. No, for
Saturday,
sure.
you're competing with the world.
yeah, you're competing with the like most people's only freedom.
Yeah,
yeah,
my 8
No, I
hours of
agree.
free time. That's
and that was
crazy.
the main show for
Yeah.
a while.
Crazy. I wrote in my notes here again, Disco Inferno KYS. If just in case anybody, I don't know why.
What
I
is
keep
that
writing
acronym?
I
I don't know.
It's crazy.
It's got,
This one is way funnier because he gets the fuck out of there. Because while Disco's dancing, Meng, the greatest ass beater in the history of wrestling, comes out in a hood and cape that is objectively too small and doesn't fit at all.
It's like over his eye, like his eyes are up here, and the mask,
It's crazy.
the mask eyes are down here.
It's so funny.
it looks like it looks like in a Don Bluth cartoon when like someone gets like an old lady's bloomers on.
He looks like
trapped
the
on them.
revolting blob from Billy Madison.
For me,
Like,
it was he
it's the
looked like
same.
one of the henchmen on the Venture Bros.
Yeah.
like one of the
Yeah,
Mind you, the greatest like real life
The
ass kicker
truest, toughest
in the history of wrestling.
the guy that nobody in the locker room will ever start a fight with because they're genuinely afraid of him.
Can come out
And
in,
this is what he's
in
looking
an objectively hilarious thing.
yeah.
But also with the best mullet I
Yeah.
have ever seen
Oh my
He
god.
looks-
in the
incredible.
history of the world.
Oh.
My notes just say after this disco bit is crazy. They got the only other note for this match is Meng rules.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Dude, curly top, straight mullet. You're
Incredible.
a superior person. You're better than
Just
me.
unbelievable.
If you have that, you are better than me. Simply.
Yeah.
Anyway, Disco Inferno KYS, I wrote in my notes here again. But out comes Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
How
Hacksaw
cool are
does not work for me in 95.
But
I
how
don't-
cool are the foam wood boards merch?
Very cool. Very, very,
Very
cool.
Fucking
Good prop.
awesome. Quick win from Meng in this nothing match.
What's the context of Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
He's the
'Cause
first
Tim-
Royal Rumble winner. That's the
Hacksaw's
context.
just one of Hogan's friends he brought over when he
Yeah.
came in. That's it. That's
That
it.
guy-
He was-
That guy
he's a great
came
guy.
out.
He's awesome.
Is okay.
He's been wrestling for 16 years at this point, which is crazy to think about. That like 16 years to Hacksaw Jim Duggan is like, hey man, maybe you should figure out something else. And
Dude.
16 years, like right now, Sami Zayn has been wrestling for what, 20?
Yeah,
And he's in the prime of his career.
crazy.
Crazy.
But to me, a person who has never seen or heard of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, this guy coming out, his name is Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
And then like God Bless America starts playing
Yeah.
on a keyboard.
It's awful.
Oh,
And-
his gimmick is like the biggest patriot.
The biggest
like
patriot.
the most biggest true, like genuine lover of America.
But then he comes out, and he's holding the piece of wood. And in my mind, I'm like, the one thing that you should have is a hacksaw.
This
Too-
is
too
something
dangerous.
that confused me so much as a child, Jordan. I'm very glad you're saying this because I remember in like English class or whatever, we were
Just
learning
go
about the word hacksaw. And in my head, I visualized the 2x4
Yeah.
because my only reference to hacksaw was Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And they were like, no, it's a saw. And I
Which
couldn't
means-
understand.
In the context of the character, he's coming out and going, I made this.
Yeah, I made this. But here's the thing, Jordan.
Yeah.
Look, I made this.
Something about
Oh.
Jim Duggan that might 180 your whole mind and your perspective on him. He respects wood.
Oh,
He reveres wood. And I think you should take a long look at the mirror and realize he's one of us.
He would always use a coaster.
Yeah, exactly. Does that change your tune?
100%. He should have won this
He
match.
should have won this match. But no, Meng with a quick win
Good.
into, okay, this is the first Hogan promo where I left thinking like, I'm in. I'm ready for the longest. Dude, he opens it with Hulkamanioids. Hulkamanioids. I was like,
just
yeah,
love
it's Halloween.
that it's the exact same Hulk Hogan, just monochromatic. That's it. That's the only change.
Dude, he starts with Hulkamanioids. He says it twice, and then he's doing this like whole bit where he's like, I'm evil now. And then by the end of it, it's just, you're the number one big stinky giant, big stinky filthy warty giant.
God.
I have a few notes here. First of all, he called himself Don Corleone Hulk Hogan.
He sure did. I took a picture of it.
Which
Don Corleone. And he said it in a really funny way that just sounded insane.
I love that you have it with the captions.
I was obsessed.
And I have Goth Hulk is so weak. And also I wrote that Hulk Hogan talking about slamming giants dad in front of 93,000 is like Al Bundy talking about the 4 touchdowns he hit in one game.
Yes.
Like, you're still talking about this? Like, get over it.
Wow,
and then once again is like, oh yeah, by the way, he's dead now, and I'm gonna kill you.
I'm
too.
waiting for Hogan to do this. He even does this.
He does.
Know? He's Al Bundy. If you
crazy.
look at it in that context, it started to get more palatable.
This one I wrote like this for me. This it was 4 minutes.
It's so bad.
It was so long. At first, I was.
It was longer than the last match.
Yes,
it was longer than the last match. He has said exactly the same thing 5 weeks
since
in a row. The first 5 weeks.
That's
in
a
row.
great point.
Yeah,
I was like, my notes were the evil within Hulk Hogan, I guess.
Yeah,
and then I wrote, this is the longest promo of all time.
It's insane.
And then I wrote, I'm gonna KMS. I wonder what that could mean.
Maybe I'm the number one big stinky giant after watching this.
Am I?
Nobody
is that
gave
why
a
I wanted
fuck.
Whatever KMS is?
Yeah, some I don't know. I keep writing about disco. I don't know.
I keep writing it though.
Nobody gave a fuck that Hogan was wearing black last week. And they keep being like he shocked the world when he wore non-McDonald's colors.
Also with Kevin Sullivan being like, I stole your colors, Hogan. You were wearing red and yellow before that. Like, you were wearing that anyway. Like, what?
It's awful. But
this whole thing is so stupid.
And then 2 weeks in a row makes it like a thing about how he's bigger than the WWF.
Yep.
I also want to point out, they intentionally did not do this in front of the crowd because they were clearly so spooked by him getting the Hogan sucks chance that they had to pre-record this. Or maybe he just wasn't there and he didn't want to go there and they just taped it last week. But still, I think it's very telling that they didn't do this. Is maybe the first Hogan promo that they haven't done in front of the crowd because they know that the crowd doesn't like this.
Working.
So why are they still doing it?
It's not working, and that's why they're doing the wearing black kind of heel thing, except for it's the same guy, but he's just saying Hulkamanioid, which I now consider myself a Hulkamanioid. I wouldn't consider myself much of a Hulkamaniac.
I was never a Hulkamaniac, but I do identify
I
have it in my Instagram bio. It's
him Hulkamanioid.
Do you carry an iPhone or a Hulkamanioid?
Yeah,
I'm still on iPhone, man.
I'm a chromatic texter, brother.
Him, Hulkamanioid, big stinky filthy warty giant. That's me going forward. We got the fucking the big match now, guys. This is the half of the Horsemen. This is the 2 Horsemen, the only Horsemen that exist for now.
It is funny to see them do the 4, and there's 2 of them.
But they come out to the iconic Horseman theme, and man, this thing I
love that riff.
This gave me goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It gave me legit goosebumps to see. Haven't heard it in a while. And then of course Rick comes out. Every time I hear Rick come out to 2001, it's just like I picture the conversation of somebody asking like, Rick, what do you want your song to be? And him just being like, the best one.
The best one.
The best song.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. And then somebody was like, all right,
yeah,
I found this. Like Rick was like, I'm the best guy, so give me the best one ever.
It could have been. It could have been like it happened to be 2001, and it's just how you interpret what, like, whoever that guy Rick said that to just picked like what that person thinks the best song is.
Yeah, exactly. I like this one, so I don't know.
Yeah, it could have it like could have been like, I don't know, Elvis, like maybe
I mean, like,
it could have literally
awesome.
been anything.
But man, it's the best song ever, and it just fits him so well. There's a "We Want Sting" chant real early on in this thing because he's not there.
Yeah, it's interesting that Sting didn't come out at first. But Flair is so amped up, and like it's infectious. Yeah. He like shoves Arn and he goes, "Come on, baby, light my fire!" Woo! Like this is that. It's so good, so good. And the camera was so close to Flair when he said this that when he opened his mouth, you could clearly see that Flair needs to visit the dentist. He has at least 2 cavities. Did you notice that?
Black teeth, crazy.
He's up to all kinds of no good.
He's chewing tobacco. He's drinking whiskey. Yeah,
the man is they're like not just cavities. He has portals on those boulders.
It's true. But yeah, this is like Sting is not there, and the whole story is that like Rick needs Sting, but Rick is on top like 95% of this match.
Yep.
Yes.
He's absolutely killing these guys.
Rick does lose control.
Yeah.
And
for
does
a
need
second.
help.
Takes one spine buster and Sting's like, all right, I'll come out.
But Sting does explain it in the post promo that he wanted to see if Flair even needed his help.
Right.
And if he was real about it. Because Sting doesn't trust Flair.
Right.
Because Flair turned on Sting a few years back.
Right. And commentary just cannot help but fucking telegraph this entire thing.
At least they're not talking about Hogan.
They're not talking about Hogan, but they're like there's things they don't need to do. They don't need to spoil future events by being like, it doesn't help the story. Just let the story tell the story.
Okay. What are you trying to seem like you're right?
That's weird
about the thing that a guy wrote.
It's just why put that in our heads that something may even be an option down the road. You know?
Yeah, just fucking tell me what's happening in front of me. As a first-time viewer, that's what the whole thing is.
And there are several moments in this
what's happening
where Eric can't like help but do color. You know?
Yes.
He can't help it. It's like, Derek, that's not what you're there for.
Yeah.
Talk about like Bobby says something about fearing no man, and it's like incredible.
Oh, dude, Bobby.
I fear no man. He's like
Sting won't come out because Sting is a coward. And then Mongo goes, "You wouldn't say that in front of him." And Bray goes, "I certainly would. I fear no one."
And then Eric has like a colorful response to that,
and it sucks.
And I bet even Bobby was like, "Eric," like Mike aside, like, shut the fucking job. Anyway, all right, we're back in the action here.
Eric says something, and then just Brain is, "Hello, darkness."
We need this heating cam.
That's your fault.
Eric, I've never been more embarrassed in my fucking life.
Only Mongo.
I hope they yell. I hope they yell like it's marriage. You're embarrassing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later. Stop it.
But we get Arn and Brian just bail. They get counted out.
Very weird, rushed ending here. They must have messed up their timing. One quote from Mongo when Sting came out.
Yep.
And the crowd goes crazy. He goes, "I haven't seen a response like this since the Republicans took over from the Democrats."
He says, "I haven't seen a house get cleaned like this."
Oh,
since the Republicans took over from the Democrats.
Little political humor here on WCW.
You used to just be able to say anything on this fucking thing, huh? Holy shit.
Oh my God.
We lived in a less divided country in 95 though.
I mean, sure. But like,
yeah, he definitely was like, yeah, we all be thinking that, right? Yeah. We're all on that same page, huh?
Yeah, I guess a political candidate didn't say that like they were okay with gay people until like 2008.
Yeah.
So Like they were
Yeah.
all fucking assholes until 2008. So
They're all to be.
it's pretty
you
much
know,
like if
kind-
you cared about politics, you were a piece of shit. So
Yep.
like you're an asshole all around. But yeah, this felt like, oh my God. Like
Yeah, that was weird.
It was so weird.
I took a shower after you said that. Mongo.
Decent episode. Benoit versus
count
Eddie
out-
Guerrero, the obvious highlight. Or not.
Yeah, and they're hitting they're figuring out the formula, like the pacing. It's still a super easy show to watch, and I realized I love 6-minute TV matches or like that Meng Duggan match. If it was on today, like on Raw, it would be a 15-minute match. Like it would be go through 2 commercial breaks. Like we don't need that. We just needed a quick squash. It's
between
easy,
two
but-
guys you actually know. Like squashing jobbers does nothing for anybody because it's just like, okay, you're gonna toss them around and then you're gonna win.
Even that isn't even technically like a squash because like they just have a match and it's short.
Yeah.
And and it's decisive.
They got their shit in fast.
WCW needs to learn from that match, and so does.
Yeah, they need to take notes from Meng versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And, and
just
keep
do
things
that.
Moving.
Go up because the count out when that happens, I audibly yelled, "Fuck this!"
Yeah, but then again, it's like we're about to see that match again. You know.
So what was so weird is they acted like they had already announced the pay-per-view match, which it's like, well, why would you have done that?
Why would you
when
do
would you
this
have done that? And then why would you have this match? Yeah, the setups are so weird, but I am very excited for this match, for this angle. It's also a little weird to me that Sting is currently involved in like 2 or 3 different stories.
He's
involved in that
the world
Luger.
title. Where does he fit? What's going on?
And next week, I believe next week, Harlem Heat takes on Sting and Lex Luger. Why is Sting teaming up with Lex Luger if he's teaming with Ric Flair? It's weird.
He's the guy. He's the guy, Rob. They need him to do everything.
I mean, I'm not better as long it's not like I want Disco Inferno to replace him or anything like that, So yes, I love Sting. There's just a lot of inconsistency in the story for no reason.
Yeah, that's the future of this show. That's how things.
And it's also going to get more inconsistent. I want to read. So not much.
Yeah, what do we
from
got?
Dave Meltzer, but he does mention that the next 2 weeks of Nitros are going to be not live, pre-taped, because they're going to be in Japan doing their little excursion with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But there should be some fun matches in the next few weeks, and we're going to start to see Japanese wrestlers on Nitro, so that's going to be fun.
Fuck yeah.
He mentions, so we kind of gloss over it, but after the Guerrero Benoit match, Bischoff talks about how there's a new cruiserweight division starting in WCW, and that like they're an example of it, which is really exciting because it is objectively the best part of the show every week
until it ends.
Yeah. Yeah, even up until the very end, when everything was to shit, they still had really cool cruiserweight matches.
This is a
with like 3 count.
creative
Yeah,
decision.
the Young Dragons. So, so with the announcement of the cruiserweight division, here's how Meltzer frames it. He says that Benoit and Guerrero had easily the best match of the show, and Benoit could be a huge star. Heenan did a great job putting over Benoit as someone who could beat anyone in WCW and as a threat to any title, which is the first of these newcomers that they've tried to give any credibility to. Unfortunately, he writes, Bischoff then started talking about a cruiserweight tournament for these guys, which, unless done right, will doom them as far as getting over. The whole idea of introducing a new style is to get new fans. For the most part, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but new fans are generally going to have to be teenagers or younger. The size business, I think he's being like the height of these wrestlers is less of a factor in that age group and less of a factor today than in the recent past. Benoit weighs more than Royce Gracie, Ken Shamrock, and Shawn Michaels, with the parenthesis that if that wouldn't be the case if Michaels was doing the same thing Benoit was doing, talking about steroids. And all of whom are super over, and none of them are being billed in their fighting sport as something less than heavyweights, or that their fans believe are too small to beat larger men. I used to think a lighter weight division would be a good idea, and if it were someone to use Rey Mysterio Jr., because at some point lack of size does present credibility problems. But since UFC has gotten over, people have seen with their own eyes 175-pound guys beating big guys. So in the minds of people they need to be attracting, that is no longer far-fetched or lacking credibility.
Wow.
So I think he really called it.
That is the most astute thing that Dave Meltzer has literally ever said, and is still true today.
Yeah.
That I cannot believe it has been, what, 40 years since this or some shit? Like
25.
35 years. Like, but of having the, like, Dave Meltzer has had this opinion for years already.
Yeah.
So we are decades past this, and this is still a thing that people think that the audience won't understand. And he's like, and Dave is like, we literally see a small guy beat the shit out of a big guy all the time
on
in
YouTube.
real life.
I see it on Twitter once a day. Just a guy like
once a day
from like Epic Fights or something, you know.
A big guy does not. The big guy, like, we could. You do not need to separate everybody like this. It's crazy.
It's not boxing. You know, it doesn't need to.
And he's totally right with the cruiserweight division. It immediately slotted those guys as opening match guys.
Yeah.
And it took them so long to have to, shed that image.
Took their entire careers. I mean, Kevin Nash said that, like, the wrestling business died when guys like Eddie and Chris Benoit became world champion. Because of, like, they were the cruiserweights when I was a top dog. And it's just, it's such a backwards way of thinking.
Kevin Nash said that?
I mean, it was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall in like a U-shoot thing. But yeah, the big guys didn't like the small guys. Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, he used to call them vanilla midgets. Yeah, he had a lot of quotes kind of knocking them, but I think it was a little him working.
But who does that benefit other than him?
Himself.
You know? Yeah,
exactly. He's trying to keep himself over. Exactly. Because he knew that they are better workers than they put on more entertaining matches.
As much as I love the guy, he's got 6 moves.
I think it's also just his attitude in WCW, because when he went to TNA, he only worked with the cruiserweights. Yeah. What were you going to say, Jordan?
I was going to say, I do know this about Kevin Nash, that even though I love him as a thing, like, he has only had like 2 good matches, and they happened already in WWF. And so I'm prepared for him to arrive and just kind of be a cool presence.
Yeah, I mean, his stories like changed wrestling forever. So
and like a good portion of his run, he's in the tag division with Scott Hall, who is a great wrestler, and they have great matches. So
big time.
Oh, okay.
It's not all bad.
No.
Cool. That's just that is the narrative that I have come to understand.
It's not an untrue narrative.
No. He's the lowest drawing WWF champion of ever, right?
I think so, yeah. But also, it's not exactly just his fault. You know, they were themselves were already in their lowest business period when he got the title, but he didn't exactly turn business around.
Right.
Well, that was episode 7 of Nitro. We are off and running here. Halloween Havoc is coming up.
It's right around the corner.
Week? Or is it after the next?
I think it's 2 more weeks. It's 2 more weeks, and then
What a build, huh?
I'm ready.
Feels on a modern day television show, Halloween Havoc is next.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
we're gonna have to see that fucking Animorph graphic 2 more times.
8 more times.
I love it.
Because it plays about 3 or 4 times per Nitro.
But that logo, that pay-per-view logo is
it's iconic.
Sick. Love that Havoc.
It's the coolest pay-per-view idea. Why isn't there always a Halloween pay-per-view?
I don't know. It's just an
NXT doesn't count.
No, it's just a random TV show with the worst matches you ever saw.
This should be like a SummerSlam level event.
Agreed.
You know, like the number 2A pay-per-view of the year.
Crazy. Like, why are they wasting bullshit? And October is the best month of the year.
It truly is.
Give me some themed wrestling in it. Huh?
Way bigger than Survivor Series. Get out.
Survivor Series is garbage.
Survivor Series sucks. Every wrestling company, why do you not have any Halloween themed event?
Wake up. Open your eyes.
Open your eyes.
All
Spooky. Right. We spooky people exist.
Yeah. We're out here and we watch wrestling too. Okay.
We need
Yeah.
more representation than Goth Hulk Hogan.
Exactly. Then
Yeah.
but us, the Hulkamanioids, are demanding a Halloween themed event from every show. That was
sure are.
Nitro episode 7. Thank you so much for watching.
Follow us on KNITRO Pod on social media. And if you want more wrestling, check out my podcast on Knotfest, Squared Circle Pit, where I interview folks about pro wrestling.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.